Okay, so we're rolling right now.
We are rolling.
Yeah. All right, so first off, I'm hoping to get the sound on air and, maybe put this video on the website. So for our audience, can you just say a little bit about yourselves and how you got involved with this exhibit?
Sure. All right, my name is Halsey Burgund, and I'm a musician and sound artist, and I'm working with the Museum of Science on a new exhibit called Voices Without Faces, Voices Without Races. And came about a couple months ago. The museum contacted me to work collaboratively on an exhibit to complement the race exhibit, which just opened at the Museum of Science, or is opening at the Museum of Science on Martin Luther King Day. And Lisa is the project manager for the project at the museum.
So I am a member of the race programs team here at the museum, and we met with community groups last summer to let people know that the exhibit was coming and to inquire what kind of programs would they like to see, how could we make the experience rich for them of coming to the exhibit, and how could we facilitate. And one of the pieces of feedback we continually got was, can you make a portion of the exhibit about Boston? Well, no, we can't. We couldn't adapt this race exhibit about Boston, but what we could do was use our art science gallery to create a Boston kind of component. So that's how the project sort of initiated, and we worked with people on some ideas and then pulled Halsey in because he is the reigning sound master artist in the country right now, and we're very fortunate to get to work with him on collecting over 250 voices, giving us comments and thoughtful responses to questions dealing with race.
What do you think are some distinct what aspects of what you found in putting this exhibit together? What do you think makes Boston unique in terms of this issue of race and racial relations?
To me, I'm sure there are tons of things that make Boston unique in this regard, but to me the most, I don't know if it's surprising, but the most striking thing about this process of collecting all these voices is that there are so many different types of backgrounds of people in the Boston area. It felt to me like there was somebody from everywhere, and somebody with every background possible in this area, and it's really a wonderful thing to have this kind of mixing that goes on in Boston, and that to me was the most striking thing, just the variety and the excitement with which people are sharing their stories is just been incredible. So Boston, I think, is pretty unique in the sense that it's almost endless in terms of the variety. Has your experience been similar to that?
Yeah, I think that's exactly it, is that people don't necessarily think of Boston as diverse, but in fact it has a very rich history of diversity, and now is incredibly like a woven tapestry of cultures from all over the world.
Yeah, it's interesting. A few people made comments when I asked them when did they learn that this concept called race existed. A lot of people said sort of when they came to America or when they came to Boston from, they were immigrants and they came from another country where there was a very, very limited group of everybody from, they grew up in Morocco and everybody was a Moroccan there and everybody was of the same general background, and they didn't really think about race at that point, and they came here and they're like, all of a sudden there's all this diversity, all these different types of people, and then they learned that there was this thing, this construct called race, and that was interesting.
Yeah, especially with these, immigrants from foreign countries, you find a lot of them growing up in a very homogenous culture, and then they have to adapt to the diversity here in this melting pot.
Yeah, I think that adaptation is a difficult process. It sometimes causes some racial tension. If you didn't have any racial diversity, you wouldn't have any racial tension. And none of us really want racial tension, but we do want racial diversity, and it's just a process that needs to be work through daily, I think, and that's what we're exploring here with this project.
Now, how much time did you spend gathering all this sound? Like, how far back does your archive date to?
We actually didn't start that long ago collecting voices. What was it, 2 months ago, probably? We started collecting probably about 2 months ago, and we went full force right at that point. So we started, we got the questions settled, and we went out, and it was myself and Lisa and Maria Cabrera and Lynn Murray and a few others who've gone out to community groups and friends and acquaintances and contacts of different sorts, and we went crazy collecting voices all sort of, because the exhibit opens on February 3rd, we needed to get them as quickly as possible. And of course, there's a lot of work that I need to do after the voices have been collected to, put it together into a cohesive piece.
And it's also like keeping it very current, doing it in such a short time span.
That's true. It does. It certainly keeps it very current. We're, of course, asking people questions not only about their current daily experience, but also about what's happened to them in the past. So but it is all, current opinions in that sense, and current recollections.
And current.
And the intention is for us to continue collecting voices throughout the run of the exhibit, which goes until the middle of May. And Halsey's going to incorporate new voices and intermittently throughout. So it's going to be a living, evolving, and very current piece. If there are people in your audience who feel that very strongly they have something that they want to say, they should get in touch with us.
So, because it's so current, it will, of course, take into account, the most recent census and, of course, the election of President Obama, with, two big events which have, been huge developments in this history of race relations.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not getting into political things with this exhibit, but you're right. There's big racial events that happen all the time, and those are two big ones, for sure.
Yeah. Any last remarks that either of you would like to make on this topic?
No, we're excited for it to be up.
We're really excited that the race exhibit has come to Boston, and that we're housing it here at the museum, and to be able to do a sort of capture the local flavor of Boston related to race is a privilege. So we're excited to be offering those to the public.
I'm not going to add to that. That was great.
Okay, thank you both.